Hi everyone, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Okay.
The volume's kind of low, Stacy. Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me as well?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining CCAR for this webinar. We are happy to be partnering with Telehealth Recovery Network to offer a recovery coaching services via a mobile app or online. This cool opportunity is offered to designated CCAR recovery coach professionals, and today you'll be getting all the information needed if you're interested in providing this service. My name is Shanae Powell, and I am the Cart Development Manager at CCAR, and Jesse Heffernan will be conducting this webinar with me today. Want to introduce yourself, Jesse?
Sure, thank you. It's saying I'm a little low, so that's partially, I think, with the computer microphone and also just losing my voice a little bit, being sick the last few days. So I will do my best to power through. So my name is Jesse Heffernan. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and also partially working with Helios Recovery Services as a training and consultant, and then with Telehealth Recovery Network as the Chief Advocacy and Recovery Officer. So thanks a lot for having me on this today, and I look forward to being able to share this exciting information with everyone and talk about the timeline and logistics of what's going to be happening. So with that, we're going to jump into the presentation. And so just a few things. We're going to have some space at the end for questions and answers. And so if you want to just keep typing your questions into the side box there, we'll try to address as many of them as possible. There will also be some emails at the end if you want to directly message myself or Shanae about the Telehealth Recovery Network for me, or if you want to ask about the RCP designation, Shanae will be able to help you with that. So kind of an agenda, we're going to just what is kind of telehealth and just big, broad, general overview of it. Talk about the network itself, why we chose to go with recovery coach professionals and working with this new platform when it comes to addressing substance use and addiction issues. Talk a little bit about, Shanae will talk about the application and training. And then, like I said, we're going to talk, just have a Q&A part. And that'll be a chance, like I know there's going to be a lot of different like questions about the different aspects of all this. Again, we're hoping to address a lot of those throughout the course of this webinar. And if not, we can talk about them later, or you can message Shanae or I. So telehealth, right? Just kind of like the big broad idea again, like the using technologies like telephone-based services, video conferencing, texting, smartphone applications, web-based tools, Zoom, Skype, that kind of thing. And really, it's just turning into this place where, either within hospital settings or within people's living rooms, we can now start to access healthcare services. And that's really starting to blow up in a lot of different ways, even to the point where that's where people get a lot of their primary care needs met and say they can't access a hospital or a walk-in clinic or something like that. Or if there's something that they need an expert to talk about, they can wheel in a video conferencing system within a hospital room or within something like that. So this is really just kind of like I think in the beginning stages, and what we're hoping to do along with CCAR is say, well, how do we take that to the next level and not only utilize the telehealth kind of medicine and the telehealth provider model, but then partner that with this kind of like a lot of our systems and a lot of the things we do today are becoming more and more on demand, like creating your own kind of experience, if you will. So if you think of, like Lyft is on demand, and we like to think of this as like this will be, recovery coaches Lyft kind of a model, or Sirius XM or Netflix. Everything is on demand and really kind of creating your own experience, which again works hand in hand with the idea of um, recovery coaching, especially with the CCAR model of meeting people where they're at. So let's develop a deeper experience of that using the telehealth model, and start to get coaches and get people connected to navigate services across the country. And as you can see there, this graphic is an idea of when someone opens up the app, what they'll be able to see and how we're going to connect them with services. So kind of some of the benefits of telehealth, accessibility, convenience, it's efficient. The expense and what we're looking to do is have services that are lower than in office. Um, and we're also developing corporate and group rates, so that individuals will be a part of larger packages. Comfortable, again, like being able to not only for the coach, but for the individual, be in places where they can best serve an individual where they can feel comfortable wanting to talk about, navigating their recovery or what those things can look like. Consistency, again, like, in this recovery field, it being so important once we connect with someone, how can we have that ongoing consistency? Um, excuse me. And also just the convenience of, say, there's individuals who don't have immediate access to recovery community organizations or treatment centers, or if there's someone that just wants to connect across the country, they're going to be able to do that with this. And then looking at urgent needs and connecting them with faster telecommunications. Our platform will be HIPAA compliant, and then just again the support aspect of it. And as the telehealth field is blowing up, so is the coaching in the peer field. And we really feel that this is going to be like one of those next steps in the professional legitimizing of the peer and coaching world and creating this contract-based services working with recovery coach professionals. So our mission is to create healing-centered pathways to support people with addictions and other mental disorders. Um, and Gudos, the founder and CEO, was affected with tragic loss of her own brother, and another partner who's also lost someone. And again, looking at how to address those things. And again, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the amazing programs and things that even start or are inspired within recovery oftentimes come from loss and come from pain and come from grief. And that's where a lot of that imagination and determination can come from. I know for myself and my personal story, um, there was this time when I was 19 and getting out of jail, and looking at, like, having my family tell me, you got to change everything like tomorrow, and it was one of those windows of opportunity. And we, maybe we've all experienced this or seen other people where there's like 5, 10, 15, or a half hour there of like, yeah, I need to make some real change in my life. And at the time back when I was 19, well, that was just like, well, figure it out tomorrow. Um, when I got into recovery and when I learned about recovery coaches, it really became about like, well, how do we create this world if there's all these people in recovery and all these recovery coaches, why not make it possible where a coach could be in front of you, either via your phone or via real life, to help navigate services right away and bring hope and be a resource broker and ask really good questions and do all those things. And so, we're putting a team together and creating some strategic partnerships with organizations like CCAR specifically, so that we can have what we will feel is like the most robust and best system out there going forward when we launch. So in our vision to again build the largest reputable telehealth network of qualified and recovery professionals who are accessible to help those in need across the country. So kind of like the technical aspect being a national cloud-based recovery support service. Um, Again, we're looking for recovery coach professionals from CCAR to provide telehealth services along with other holistic and integrative services. And so there's going to be kind of three camps within this as far as providers go. We're going to have, substance use recovery coaches, mental health peers and coaches, folks that will be working, kind of across both fields and with family members. And then we'll have kind of this holistic side. And so if there's people that are, wanting to walk down more of a spiritual path and look at specific pathways there, or learn about finances, or learn about like what are different types of things going on. We're going to have a little bit more of that field with the holistic care. And then also within the system, providers with therapy and counseling and more like psychologists and psychiatrists as well. So we're building those three camps, and we're currently working on what that's going to look like state by state. So our goal and our hope is that, if someone comes to this platform and it's really about getting connected with those services, they can do it all in one place. Um, and be available 24/7, 365 to be able to do that. And the flexibility, um, to be able to do those things at, again, like on demand, like create a user experience that works for the person, and trusting that, they can be a resource, be treated as a resource and an expert of their own experience with the help and navigation from a recovery coach. So our platform, first to market to utilize a cloud-based system that initiates long-term recovery supports for addiction and mental health. Again, we're talking to a lot of corporations and large organizations, and first responders to have 24/7 access to this, as well as group rates, allow individuals to have their own unique pathway, meeting people where they're at. We're going to be building in, quality of life has become really important in the last couple of years, of not just saying like, well, recovery is abstinence and that's how we're going to measure everything. No, we're going to really look at like, well, how are people feeling and what's going on in their life, and how can we do that simply? One, just for a person to have kind of that benchmark for themselves, but also for us to know like what is the impact of this doing, and like not necessarily saying quality of life increase is always success, because we know a lot of stuff can happen in someone's life, but just being able to look at those things and how the interactions with coaches and other pieces within the app are helping them. Geolocation features, being able to build behind the scenes, like access to resources. So if I'm a coach, in Appleton, Wisconsin, where I am, and I'm working with an individual in Idaho, I can see where they're at and I can see what's around them, and be able to build out like, hey, can we set up meetings and services and different types of things in these places? And then again, we're really working on kind of building strategic uh, relationships with partners across the country that are going to be able to help, one, align with the mission and vision of TRN, um, and then also be able to get this out to more people, and really be able to get into markets and networks that other places may not be. Um, to me, part of that, like eliminating stigma, is like, well, we got to get outside of our own silos and get outside of our own kind of fields and be like, well, how do we market in really more traditional ways, or in ways that will get more people access to this and normalize this stuff? And I think a telehealth platform will really be able to help do that. So we talk about, we actually sent out some surveys via CCAR, asking, the current recovery coach professionals if they're interested in this, and excuse me, what questions they have for us. And one of the things that came up, and naturally so, is like, what about core values and guiding principles? A lot of folks have roots in, those kind of things within the recovery community and family-based communities and whatnot. And so we're like, yeah, we agree, and we want to make sure that, from, a couple different standpoints, that we have those things covered. So looking at being reliable and secure, um, delivering advanced telehealth resources, and so that there's consistency of the product there, to be able to connect people and do what we can on our end to make sure that that stays that way. Um, Continually respond people's needs with new and creative solutions. And so we know with anything being built like this, we've even experienced recently where, when we're building this kind of a platform, sometimes there's going to be changes, and we have to be able to adapt to the market's needs, to people's needs, and to providers' needs all at the same time. Um, and then, creating a compliant recovery services industry standard. And again, that's another thing we want to look at is, what does it look like to have that level of integrity, excuse me, connection, and, reliability amongst not just the coaches and the providers, but amongst the general market and population and families and people looking for help. Um, Educate and empower, help them develop lifelong skills, help eliminate stigmas that surround addictions through top-notch education. We want to have some platforms, and some folks who will be providing, educational webinars and things like that. Pardon me one moment, gonna take a quick drink of water here. There we go. Um, help remove barriers, include loved ones and family members. And so if there's individuals who are going through this and they want to include, just like we talk about, within the CCAR training, like who are the other people that could be on my team? We don't want the coach to be the sole person. And it really is important for them to get connected to the community and more resources. And then passionate and committed. So again, like we're building a team and we're going to talk more about even some opportunities with TRN. Like, we're really using our values and in the next couple slides more of the principles about like determining who we work with and the mission and stuff like that. Remaining ahead of the curve in best practices, learning a whole lot about telehealth in the last few months, um, kind of where everything's going and where we can best again serve people in the market, not just within the coaching and recovery field, but also like in the general public, and track and celebrate long-term outcomes with people in recovery. Again, that celebration is important. We talk about that too, like in the recovery coach trainings. Guiding principles, and so again, this is in our mission. Healing centered recovery is strength based, advances a collective view of healing, and recenters community as a central factor and feature in well-being. And we're supportive of all pathways in recovery. We acknowledge um, moderation, medication based, abstinence based, all looking at all those things. People who are looking to just start, people who, maybe their understanding of recovery is like, I just need to change one small thing, and that's not even eliminating substances. Like, we get it, and we want to really make sure that we're focusing on the strength of that person. Um, Interconnected recovery is experienced collectively, and we're talking with other groups, and we want to reach into a broader sense, and so how do we make this again a collective interconnected experience that and can you see that there's other people on the platform, and can you remain kind of connected with people as you walk through this intersectional, um, you know with culture, race, gender, orientation, class, like substance use, mental health issues are pervasive in all those areas. And addressing all of those things and making sure that there is not just equal access, but equitable access is something that we're really looking at. Um, and knowing that that intersectionality is so important. And the last one, asset driven, focusing on the well being rather than just the suppression of symptoms. People are much more than the worst thing that happened to them, and we want to build on those strengths that bring them there. We want to build on that kind of aspect through this model. So thinking about for the folks that join in that want to use this, and so they'll download the app, pay for a chosen package, or they'll get it to them through their employer if their employer has a subscription plan. A little bit different than the EAP, and it's meant to enhance like a lot of times EAPs have limited amounts of sessions you can do with them. They're not necessarily connected to the broader resources within a community or with recovery itself. Um, you can do an on-demand support, or schedule appointments, or if there's crisis and you need to talk to someone immediately. We want to create, again, all those different pathways to recovery within the context of this. Um, Again, this can happen via chat, call, video conference with the app, or on a computer, wherever you happen to be at that time. And then we're also really making sure that, the RCPs that choose to come onto this, that they're also doing some follow-ups and wanting to connect with folks. And so we're going to create some push messaging features like, how you doing today? Do you need to connect with someone today? Um, so it's not just entirely based on like this reach out model, which our system has been for the longest time, is you're in the depths of your addiction and all these things are going on, and you need to be the one that reaches out. Like, how can we bridge that gap where there's like this reach in system? Can we get to people where they are and really be able to connect with them, so that it's not always reliant on them? So why recovery coach professionals? And this was a a really intense conversation and lengthy conversation. We had at TRN here when we talked about looking at the landscape of the number of credentials and certifications and coaching things going on, and being a CCAR core trainer, I may have been a little bit biased, but so thinking about just the professional designation in and of itself, and knowing that it's not just the 60 hours, but that there's this this interview process, and that CCAR really takes the time to talk to the individuals and understand that they know how to navigate these systems when it comes to questions and through that interview process. So we really believe that working with CCAR out the gate was the best way to go when it came to offering up recovery coach professionals to be able to come into this platform. We're really excited about working with them and continuing to build this out and what that's going to look like. So we, in this larger field of substance use specific or addiction specific coaches, the recovery coach um, professional designation is who we're choosing to really go with and guide this system and connect with.
So
And
how do you
that's
become a designated CCAR recovery coach professional? Applicants must complete 60 hours of training or CEUs. The CCAR Recovery Coach Academy and the CCAR Ethics training are both required. Then you'll need an additional 14 credits, which can be obtained from other CCAR trainings or from another training provider with focus on addiction and recovery. You'll submit a completed application with copies of all certificates, a resume, and/or an essay sharing your experience of addiction recovery or interest in recovery coaching. You'll mail the application packet and a check for $149 to CCAR main office at 75 Charter Oak Avenue, Suite 1-305, Hartford, Connecticut 06106. And lastly, if eligible, applicants will be scheduled a phone interview with a panel of CCAR staff and recovery coaches, including myself. The application can also be found at www.addictionrecoverytraining.org. The beauty about the RCP designation is that it's available to all people in recovery, including families, friends, and allies. There's absolutely no prerequisite or length of time in recovery required. This ultimately removes barriers and it creates an opportunity for many people to become credible recovery coaches in the field.
so we got a couple more slides. And this is really like kind of like the what's next piece of it. So um, we're going to so again, we want to be able to have 100 coaches, recovery coach professionals join us by Q2 of 2020. um, so like Uber or Lyft, the contracted RCPs um, will have the ability to you'll be able to establish your own hours and really be able to kind of create your own business model using it. And so you could really network or market yourself as, hey, I'm a recovery coach professional with TRN, and create your own business cards with that, or your page with that, or whatever works for you to be able to um, set up sessions and things like that. Be able to add your own bio and picture as well. In addition, so to the 100 RCPs that we want to have on board, we're also looking to hire um, some as well, due to the fact that we want to be able to have all hours covered, um, 24/7, 365. And so once that is open and available, we'll be sending out some emails, through CCAR, as well as doing some stuff online. And in the next, on the bottom there, you can see that you can sign up for updates at telehealthrecovery.com. Um, if you do that, in the next few days or whatever, and um, we'll be able to keep you up to date as to when those applications are open. In addition to just being a part of the TRN network, the marketing opportunities and additional training that we'll have available specific for TRN coaches, we're working on additional bonuses as well, and additional just things to be able to bring people in and feel that they want to stay there and retain the talent that's coming in. Um, So part of the whole thing will be, just figuring out, we'll train you on telehealth services, um, how the app works, how you'll be able to see things about what's going on with your recoveries, um, what quality of life stuff looks like, and again, like there'll be a process that you'll have to go through if you choose to join this. Um, we're working on the base amounts per session. We're still getting a lot of feedback from recovery coach professionals and some other folks that we're working with as to what that's going to be. But again, we want to be able to make this a an opportunity where this could be like a part-time or a full-time gig for someone if they really wanted to market themselves as a TRN coach, and be able to go out there and do that. So again, like if you're really interested, please check out the website. It's just kind of like in a placeholder standpoint right now, but you can put in your contact information, and we'll let you know as soon as things are rolling, or you can email us at recruiting@telehealthrecovery.com. And this is the point in the show where if folks want to start adding in some questions on the side there, you can start doing that if you'd like. Um, we've got a few more slides here. So again, thank you so much, for those of you. And we are working on being able to have this webinar shareable as well. So we'll have links for it, and we'll be able to send it out because we know not everyone is able to jump on to be able to see it. So what technology will a coach need? So just having, you'll have to download the app for either your phone or computer, and we'll have some, once you go through the process of applying, there will be some things kind of like this webinar where you can test like your internet speed and everything like that. Um, so we're really excited about, like, again, just the ease of accessibility for both coaches and individuals seeking this.
Oh, there was a question on
So
payment.
Lynn, regarding the payment piece, um, so we're working on getting reimbursable in all these different states. As of right now, the coaching piece of it will be paid out of pocket, and so the coaches will provide, and we're working on the exact system, if it's going to be direct deposit, if it's going to be PayPal or Venmo. But when an individual pays like out of pocket, via one of those things or a credit card, um, the coach will get paid directly to that, and then some will go to the overhead of the service itself. Again, we're working on that piece, and we're working on some scholarship opportunity pieces as well for individuals that may not have the funding right away.
Sure. There was a question if the recovery coach training had to be online or in person. So the Recovery Coach Academy training is done in person due to its interactive content. Um, if it was trained through a different organization, that is fine, as long as you complete the CCAR Recovery Coach curriculum. Um, Paul had a
The
question.
additional, no, so the 149 is for just the recovery coach certification. There's an application you'll have to do, but as of right now, no additional application fees to work with TRN.
And the link to this webinar will be emailed out. So
How would a coach document the encounters? So within the app itself, so we're going to build in the um, CCAR wellness plan itself that the recovery will be able to fill out and take care of and look at and share that with their coach. Um, and so there will be like a way to, once you have a session with someone, they're going to be able to rate their experience with the session. So we'll be able to see kind of like the quality of the coaches as well. And then you'll be able to, like, behind the scenes as a coach, see, you know, how many sessions you've had, how long they've gone, and those kind of things. Let's see. This is marketed to individuals. Oh, wait. I'm imagining a rural community wants telehealth or geo region funding through a grant. Is that something in the works? Um, we're not, I mean, so it's going to be marketed to individuals, organizations, emergency rooms, things like that to be able to utilize. And it really depends upon the region and what they need. Um, so if a rural community wants telehealth and funded through a grant, I'm sure we'd be able to talk with them of what would that group funding structure look like. Um, and as far as okay, so we're going to have an integration with Athena Health for medical records and notes as well, because there is going to be part of this app will have doctors and therapists and stuff like that. There's going to be some stuff across the platform that we'll be able to use, and some things that other telehealth has done that's been really awesome that we'll be able to utilize too.
To Carol's question, the RCP, it is a designation and not a state certification. CCAR, we do not certify. Um, so if you are state certified, you would still have to go through the process of becoming designated with CCAR.
Perfect. Yep, definitely. So again, kind of timeline wise, we're looking at opening up the application process uh, in late November and December. We knew that in the original kind of marketing for this, we were talking about going to market in January, and we've learned in the last week since we've put this out that 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 might have to be pushed back a little bit, and that's why we put quarter 2. But we're still looking to start actively engaging and possibly even doing some beta testing throughout quarter 1. So again, like with all fun technology, a lot of things are up in the air and they tend to change pretty quick. But as important as it is, like to make sure that we have a great app, we want to make sure that it's a really great app and that it's a really great platform and resource, and that we're really doing our due diligence to make sure that we have the best user-friendly on-demand experience um, as possible, so that we're meeting the needs of not just the coaches and the providers, but the individuals and the organizations that we're reaching out to as well. And Anne said there might be grants to help with cost of certification. Try the Amon Foundation. I know CCAR works with them. And yes, onboarding for recovery coach professionals will start in January. So how do I see this fitting into a recovery community organization? Again, as of right now, we're looking at individuals being independently contracted, kind of like, like I said, like a Lyft driver or like someone that just provides a one-on-one service. Um, Maybe in the future we can explore more, like if there's an RCO that has a number of RCPs under it, like could they all be under one thing? And that's certainly a possibility in the future. But right now, this is really just about like, the independent RCP being able to go out and do that. An RCO could market, I guess, and say that they have any number of telehealth recovery coach networks available. And again, like, those coaches would receive, the payment for that, but it could be, yes, another marketing opportunity, another thing for RCOs to be able to go to organizations or go to places and say that they have that available. Other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, opinions, ideas, sarcastic remarks? We'll take them all. So people paying out of pocket, how would that work? again, um, like any system where, you have to, there's a paper fee, it would be out of an individual's um, credit card or PayPal or Venmo. So they would just, enter in that information into the app, and then the coach or the provider would be paid. Where is information on pricing structures? We're currently developing that. And again, like we had sent out, so if you are a recovery coach professional with the designation, there's been a survey sent out a couple times via CCAR, and we're gathering info on that cost of how much to pay coaches. And so we're getting feedback from them, from recovery coach professionals right now. We're getting feedback from partners and investors as well. But again, we want to be able to make sure that it's something you could do on a part-time or full-time basis, and so that it covers cost of living and stuff like that. Are there any health departments or community health centers partnering with us? Not currently with health departments or community health centers. And so we're definitely exploring their models. We know that telehealth can live in those places. Um, so we're looking at that, and those are the folks that we want to be able to go to, because a lot of times within um, health departments or community health centers or hospitals, they're providing you first with, like, access to doctors, nurses, things like that. Again, our we really want our approach, that first kind of step, it's going to majorly focus on coaches and peers. And so it- we're hoping that, again, those kind of systems will be open to the idea of, hey, like, can we get coaches and peers in to talk, via TRN or the Telehealth Recovery Network, and then be able to connect them either there in the community or in the system that they're in, or connect them within the app itself. And so we're really trying to look at it as kind of like a big of a picture as possible with this rollout, and then work on developing those relationships when we make sure we have something that will integrate or fit with other systems, or that we can create that kind of partnership and adaptability. No problem. Other questions are coming through. So again, like, this is just, kind of like the very quick intro, kind of to all of this. Our big main goal here was to really, um, partner with CCAR, and kind of like, via CCAR's network, you're all really getting like the first kind of preview of all of this. Um, and we're hoping that a lot of RCPs will either want to apply for it, but on the other side, like, when you get your CCAR, when you get your materials and you see there's like 20,000 coaches um, who've gone through it, ballpark, our hope is that then a lot of those coaches will want to see this as an opportunity to become RCPs. So again, if there's, training opportunities in your neighborhood or in your community, definitely, like, if there's ways to be able to get in there, TRS volunteers at the centers, will they have an opportunity to apply for this for the
So
TRS
to
volunteers?
Carol's question, so volunteers at the center, if they complete a certain amount of training hours, and pretty much show your commitment, the 149 application fee, it will be waived, for the designation.
Great. So again, like, stay tuned. Please go to, and I'll click back a second here. Um, so, telehealthrecovery.com is where you can sign up and get information. Um, and we're really encouraging, like, whether it's for you or a loved one, or, if you're thinking like, yeah, like I'm a recovery coach, but I don't know if I want to be an RCP, like, we strongly encourage you, check out addictionrecoverytraining.org,
Hmm.
find out where the trainings are. If you don't have a trainer near you, or if you don't have trainings near you, contact Shanae so that we can get you connected with those folks. You
Definitely.
can reach either one of us about different questions if you have some more, or if you want to, if you're working with like a larger organization or want to get some more things, we could set up additional presentations as well. Um,
Definitely. And if you do have any questions, feel free to send me an email. The application can be found at www.addictionrecoverytraining.org. You can also find all of CCAR's training curriculum if you're interested in registering for any of our upcoming trainings. You can go to that site to do so.
I believe the last thing
Oh,
is
yes.
what's this all about, Shanae?
So this
What's
is
going on in November?
Yes, so please, everyone, save the date and register for the 2019 Multiple Pathway Recovery Conference. It's the National Recovery Conference, which will be held in Punta Gorda, Florida on November 13th through the 15th. It's going to be a great time. There will be lots of fun and adventure as you explore multiple pathways of recovery. There'll be other tracks focusing on storytelling, recovery coaching, self care. There'll be some great keynote speakers. So please register now. You can register at www.ccarconference.org. You don't want to miss this, guys.
It's an amazing conference. TRN is going to be down there, so myself and a few other of our team members, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. We'll have some materials there, as well as you'll be able to ask us some questions directly, um, and then yeah, be able to see some amazing speakers down there. It's going to be a great time.
I think we have a few more questions coming in. Well, thank you. Thank you all
Same.
for
Yeah,
being here with us today.
yeah. Thanks for taking the time. So I think with that, we're going to continue to keep you posted through CCAR and social media and things like that. Um, we're hoping, in the future, we'll be able to show you a little bit more of what the app itself looks like, maybe even do a demonstration. Um, so we'll definitely keep you posted on all those things. That's all I got. You got anything else, Shanae?
Nope, I think that's good. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Take care,
Always
everybody.
fun. Yes, we